Hey there, everybody. It's Dr. Roto along with Adam Ronis, and today we're talking about the Jets, Jets. Ronis, I am psyched. Are you?
Yes, of course I like the Jets. I'm anti-Giants, so I support the other New York team, the New York Jets.
Is that your Giants jersey on that I see in the background?
Nah, that is Cowboys, man. That's my man,
Oh,
Jason Witten, unfortunately retiring at the last minute, but got to respect what he did throughout his career.
does that make your jersey go up in value there because it's a retired guy?
I don't know. It's the Cowboys. We'll get to them at some point, but it's not looking great this year.
All right, speaking of the Jets, I like a couple of their guys this year. I wrote about a guy who I think is a sleeper. I think people will not be drafting. He went in the 9th round recently of an online championship draft, Ronis. Isaiah Crowell. Last season, I thought he was a top 10 player, but game flow killed him because the Browns were behind in every game. They stopped running the football in the second half. I think now with the Jets, there's no Matt Forte. Elijah McGuire gets fewer touches. Bilal Powell gets 12 to 15 touches a game. I think Isaiah Crowell could get 20 touches a game.
Yeah, I think the big difference between this year and last year is one of the things you hit on. With the Browns, they were constantly playing from behind. Let's not forget, this is a team that won one game over the last 2 seasons. So when you're constantly trailing, that was not good for Crowell. That meant more Duke Johnson because he's the pass catching back. Although Crowell can catch the football. He had 40 receptions a couple years ago. Declined a little bit last year, but that was because of the whole situation with Cleveland. The Jets went out and signed him. The other factor is the price in drafts. Last year, you were having to pay a 3rd or 4th round pick for Crowell, and obviously there was a lot of risk there, and it backfired. But now, as you mentioned, he's going late. I saw his ADP in the Fantasy Football World Championships is 99 right now. You can take him as an RB4. If it doesn't work out, you didn't invest much at all. So I will absolutely take a shot on someone in that spot. Now, the Jets, there's a lot of question marks, but they surprised everyone last year. I don't think anyone thought that team was going to be as good as it was. They were in a lot of games. They were competitive, and I know there's some new dynamics and components this year, but yeah, I agree with you. I'm taking Crowell as my 4th running back. Why not?
Well, look, Josh McCown did a great job last year of keeping them in games. I want to get to the Bilal Powell. I drafted him in like the 4th or 5th round in Vegas, and he was a real disappointment. He had 2 big games last year against the Jaguars and the Chargers where he went off. But after those 2 games, he didn't get 80 yards in any game. He only had 4 or more receptions in 3 games. Is Bilal Powell slightly overrated in fantasy circles?
Well, maybe last year, his price has also gone down. I think his ADP, what I saw, was 104. So they're going in similar ranges. You mentioned the big run against Jacksonville. He was untouched. It was 75 yards run, and no one touched him. I don't think he's a bad player. We know what he can do in the passing game. It's just that on a week-to-week basis, I'm not sure what his touch distribution is going to be, and that's going to make it difficult. We know every year he has a few big games. He had a nice stretch 2 years ago where he won people championships, and that's why I think people went back to him last year. So he'll be involved in this backfield. It's just on a given week, I don't know. But the price has gone down. He's not someone I'm looking to target. I'll take Crowell in round 9, hoping that he does get the bulk of the carries because they did spend money and bring him in. So I think Powell's more of a complimentary piece and maybe a bye week fill-in at this point.
Crowell got 3 years, $12 million, so they're invested in him. Let's take a look at quarterback. Josh McCown, like I said earlier, did a really solid job last year. So long as he stays healthy, which is not easy for him, he keeps the Jets in games. They signed Teddy Bridgewater to a 1-year deal. I mean, maybe they keep him. Hackenberg is now gone. Sam Darnold, though, is there. He is the quarterback of the future. When will the future be, Adam? I think it'll be week 8, week 9, week 10. McCown doesn't go through the full season. I say Darnold by week 10.
Yeah, you got to think somewhere, anywhere from week 6 to 10 would be my guess. McCown's 38. We know that he's brittle and it's going to be hard to stay healthy. The reports out of OTAs so far have been that Bridgewater looks really good. Now, maybe he's someone they move. I don't know if they're going to keep all these quarterbacks, so that's good for the Jets. Maybe they move him. But we know we're going to see Darnold at some point this year. These are quarterbacks that you're just not drafting, though, in fantasy.
All right, let's get to the wide receivers. I think the Jets have about 3 very good ones, and I want to talk about them. First of all, Robbie Anderson. I love this guy's ability. Very fast, good hands, but this guy is a knucklehead sandwich. Do you trust him enough to stay on the field and not get suspended this season?
Well, the suspension is still in question. Now, the felony charges have been dropped. He has a charge for a misdemeanor. July 19th is his court date. He thinks he's not getting suspended. It's the NFL. We just don't know. It's possible maybe he gets a game or two. He was big-time value last year, big playmaker, and you're seeing him go right around pick 75 to 80. So I've done a couple of drafts so far. I haven't taken him yet. He's got big playability. I think the question is, too, how does he mesh with the quarterbacks? We know he's got that connection with McCown. If we see Darnold come in, what's the dynamic between those two?
Exactly. We don't know. I like Anderson. I really like what I saw last year. The Jets bring in Terrell Pryor, who some of our friends, like our man Truck, drafted him in the 3rd round last year in Vegas. I think Pryor is not a natural receiver, but he has shown he's got glimpses of greatness. Problem is he's not consistent enough. I just don't know if I could take this guy as anything more than a wide receiver 5.
Yeah, I think you're going to get him real late. Right now, his value is down because he wasn't a walking boot. He's taking it off. He's dealing with a foot issue. It seems like injuries were the big problem last year. But as you mentioned, this guy's a former quarterback, doesn't have a lot of practice as a wide receiver. We saw him have that really good year in Cleveland, struggled with Washington. Right now, if you're drafting today, I think I took him in a draft 18th, 19th round. I'll take a shot at that point. And if it doesn't work out, you'll cut him because we know there's some potential there. But it's a crowded wide receiving core, too. Jermaine Kearse is there. Quincy Enunwa's coming off the neck injury. He's healthy. This might be a situation where in week 1, we're talking about one of these guys off the waiver wire, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. And I wanted to talk about Quincy Enunwa. I think this guy is a good slot receiver. He did real good things for the Jets a couple of years ago. I think that was a big loss last season. I just see that he could be the guy who each week is consistent. Like Anderson could have good games and bad games. Pryor, good and bad. Kearse, good or bad. But I think Enunwa could get 4 to 5 catches a week.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of questions with this receiver group that we're just not going to have answered until preseason. Maybe first week or 2 of the season. I think we know Robbie Anderson is the most talented and is going to be drafted early. Then you're going to see the other guys all go late, especially right now, because we're just not sure exactly what their roles are going to be. There's some health questions, even Enunwa coming off the neck injury. So I think this is still a situation that needs to be sorted out, and which is why they're late round flyers in the rounds 18 to 20.
All right, so let's recap. Isaiah Crowell, Bilal Powell, Robbie Anderson. We're definitely drafting. We're drafting Pryor, and then the other guys are just flyers at the end?
Yeah, I think so at this point. I think training camp, preseason games, we might get some more answers and a little bit of a better picture. And again, I have a feeling we'll be sitting here after week 1, and one of these Jets wide receivers will be on our waiver wire pickup list.
But I am very excited about Sam Darnold. I think the Jets made a trade. They moved up. They got the guy they wanted. This is the linchpin to their franchise moving forward.
Yeah, they had to. We knew they were going to take a quarterback. I know there's a lot of talk that it might have been Baker Mayfield, but he goes number 1 to the Browns. They get Darnold. I think they did like him too, and they had to do it. They need to build around a quarterback of the future, and we'll see him this year. He'll get his shot.
All right, you know what else people have to do, Ronis? They have to go to scoutfantasysports.com and sign up. And also, our preseason pro special, dude, $29 value. You're getting the picks, the sleepers, the busts, the stash and cashes from 10 of the best high-stakes players around.
Yeah, sign up by the end of the month, June 30th. And again, these are players that have won big money, that get it done in the most pressure, high-stakes leagues. This is information that's valuable to you. Kimmer Schleicher won the Fantasy Football World Championships 2 years ago. Who was one of the names she mentioned last year? Alvin Kamara. Now, I had him in 2-3 leagues. All the leagues I had him, I did well. He was someone that you got, 8th, 9th, 10th round, sometimes even later, depending on when you drafted. So if you sign up now, get those picks in your early drafts, you're going to be rewarded.
I always love to see what those high-stakes people do. I mean, I know that we know what we're doing, but I always like to see where their heads are. Maybe they have one player that I didn't think about, and that player ends up being good. It's worth it.
No, that's what's great about the dynamic here at Scout Fantasy Sports, because, we both bounce stuff off each other. You might open my eyes to something, I'll open your eyes, and then see that list with Sean Childs and all the high-stakes players. You can go look and say, you know what? I really wasn't thinking about that. But they have had a lot of success. They know what they're talking about So let me read what they say, look at things, and then you say, you know what? They're probably right. So I'm going to take that guy. So when you put all of that together with all the minds we have here, it's hard for you guys not to have success. We can never guarantee wins, but we're going to put you in position to compete for that championship. And how do you do it? Ultimately, we'll push you over the top with decisions throughout the season.
Absolutely. And how do you do that? You go to playffwc.com right now. You sign up for our drafts. And as Adam said, ask us your questions during the season. We're here to help you. That's what we do. That's how we roll. I'm Dr. Roto. He's Adam Ronis. And we're back soon with more with you. Be well and take care.